Fair. The next one is wow. I don't even know how I'd answer this question, but inquiring minds want to know.
Walter goes first.
No, they want to know what your number one concern is. There are so many issues with the Arizona Department of Corrections. They want to know if there was one that was that top priority, that day one ombudsman can help go outside the chain of command and fix these issues, which issue that would be and why.
Well, for me, that would be retribution, either on the employee level or the inmate. Retribution is a big deal out there. I've had people in letters, as I said at the beginning of this program, that have contacted me in my office and are scared, and they are employees, about if they raised a red flag that they are going to get fired or they're going to be chastised or what have you. So that is my priority right there, is we need to put those folks in check that are intimidating some of these folks from doing the right thing. And those folks that are doing those bad apples that are creating that type of hostile work environment for the employees, then those folks need to go home. They need to get employment elsewhere, unless they can do the right thing. But that is something that I really want to look at and that I'm focusing on, and all my legislation kind of surrounds that and as we move forward.
Yeah, for the purposes of this discussion today, I think Mr. Blackman put his finger exactly on it. And it goes to the other question that we had earlier in the discussion as well, which is how can people trust the process? So the way that you create that level of trust is to go and immediately start to address and create that environment and put in the systems into place that let people know, hey, you can come. There's not going to be you're not going to be retaliated against. You can come and talk to us. We got your back on this one. It's a safe environment, and we want to hear from you. I think that's absolutely probably the place to start, because if you can get the staff more relaxed about being open about what they think needs to be changed, and if you can reassure the inmates, the incarcerated persons there, that their grievances are going to be heard and listened to and acted upon, then you are absolutely creating an environment where both sides can sort of dial down the tension, and people can focus on just trying to get through the process and this part of their life that they're in, and try to be productive in whatever role that they have in that environment. Trust is incredibly important, and I think Mr. Blackman's point is very well taken.
Yeah. There's specific things built into this legislation as well to protect confidentiality and create a reporting mechanism that is confidential and is what in the language of the prisons and the law, it's privileged communications. So there is specific language in there that allows that to happen when a incarcerated person wants to make a report to the ombudsman. There's a confidential reporting mechanism in there that allows them to get that out there. Moreover, this is one of the things too. This legislation isn't living in a vacuum. There are other examples of this legislation. The core of the legislation is constructed from research that's been done for over 30 years on best practices and evidence-based operations from the Department of Corrections from all over the country. Moreover, and it's been put into practice in other states. Most recently, Washington State. And Washington State has a system that's very similar to what we have here in Arizona. And that this legislation operated, the ombudsman, independent ombudsman office worked really well up there. What really strengthens this legislation and makes it probably the strongest in the country is that it does take an amalgamated approach with the legislative panel that has directly impacted citizens on it, and experts and lawmakers at the legislation, and the independent ombudsperson that's external and operating independently has been discussed here. And one of those things that was really strong for us when we were looking at this legislation and giving some input on it is securing those abilities to have those reporting mechanisms, but also securing it from what we've talked about heretofore, which is political wind shifts, policy shifts, those type of things. So there's a number of tools that look at the existing working legislation from across the country where this has been applied, and then dialing it in for specific issues here in Arizona, but to address some of those other ones and to continue to strengthen those very issues that are being raised here about confidentiality, secrecy, and continued to being able to exist regardless of what's going on in the executive or what's going on in the Department of Corrections.
Look, this is a fix we can fix. When we're talking about reporting, the mechanism that we can use, something very simple like restricted or unrestricted. A restricted report means that we're not going to tell who gave us that report, but we're able to fix the problem. An unrestricted report is, yeah, that person wants everybody to know who is doing wrong, and they want people to know that they made that report. We can do this with confidentiality. We just have to have the courage to be able to get over the first hurdle and do the right thing. And I used to have a sergeant major who used to tell me, do the right thing even though no one is looking, and choose the hard right over the easy wrong. We are continuing to go down the wrong road of wrong on this issue of criminal justice reform, number one, and how we take a good look at our prisons. We have nothing to lose at this point other than making sure that we improve that environment and make it safe for employees, for those inmates, and mostly for the community when these folks get out. If we treat those folks like animals in the inside, they are going to act like that when they get outside, and we have no one else to blame but us at the legislative body for not acting appropriately to do the right thing.
We definitely need to start normalizing the use of the tools that are outlined in the bill. Because that is going to, again, it's going to lead to a better product for us all. It's going to lead to a more stable environment for everyone, both inside and outside of the prisons. It's nothing but a positive thing. So anybody who is going to attack this type of oversight bill on the basis that it has an agenda that is designed to undermine public safety, I'll submit to you is just playing politics or trying to protect their own pocketbook because they're trying to profit from the current system. So I look forward to standing next to Mr. Blackman and standing next to all of you who are watching and be a part of this panel, trying to get this piece of legislation passed in this upcoming session.